Welcome everyone, I'm so happy you're here. This is video one of a three-part video series on finding your zone of genius. If you don't know me already, my name is Loraine Martinez and I'm a career and life coach based in Manchester, Connecticut. Just to give you some more background on me, I am a life coach that specializes in helping women in their 20s and 30s get really clear on their dream careers and create a plan to go after it. I've been through it myself, and my hope is that I can use my experience of feeling restless and unfulfilled and bored in my career just a few years ago and use that experience to help you guys get from point A to point B, that point of feeling bored and restless to feeling full of purpose and joyous on a daily basis in a much quicker manner than I did, in a much easier manner. By way of background, I am a lawyer by day. I help people in foreclosure to keep their homes here in Connecticut. I love that work. That work also includes a lot of one-on-one counseling and assistance to homeowners, and I've used that to segue into this new venture that I've embarked on. And I hope that my being transparent about my process will inspire you guys to really go for it and start exploring what else you could be doing. So today we're going to focus on the first steps that you should take to start trying to your zone of genius. And this entire video presentation is based on what I learned from The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks' book, which focuses on conquering your hidden fear and taking life to the next level. And this quote especially resonated with me as I was reading it. And it says, "The goal in life is not to attain some imaginary ideal. It's to find and fully use your own gifts." And the reason that spoke so deeply to me is because just, from when I was in high school onward, I was very goal-oriented, very ambitious in what I wanted to do. And I remember as just a young girl creating lists of and imagining exactly how my life would look like when I was 30 or 25. I would travel the world. I'd get a degree. I'd get multiple degrees. I'd have an amazing house. I would have a supportive, handsome partner. And by the time I turned 30, I had basically checked off most of those things from my list, except the problem was that I created that list when I was, 15 or 16 years old. So what I wanted in life and what really lit me up changed throughout the years, and I think many of us experience that. So I just want you to have some grace with yourself and realize that your purpose isn't to attain whatever ideal you decided was your thing in the past. It's to really find and use those gifts as you know them to be now, that you're fully grown up. So that quote really spoke to me, and I hope you guys find it useful as well. So part one is finding what your it is, or what your thing is. And the book, The Big Leap, focuses a lot on doing that, and it does it through a process that I found really helpful in just helping me solidify and confirm the things that I thought I was good at. So your genius is that activity that is uniquely suited to you, and that you are the best when you're doing that. So it's not necessarily things that you're good at, although it could be. It's things that you're not only good at, but you are passionate about, and that make you come alive. So when you're looking for your it, you want to figure out things that you do that combine both your innate gifts, whether that be your natural intelligence, your natural charisma, the fact that you're a people person by nature, things of that sort, and you combine that with your practice strengths. So for example, I'm a very analytical person naturally, and then I went and got a law degree. So I am a really good attorney. And that's great, except it's not really where, it's not specifically the career where I get to exercise my passion, which is helping people and guiding people to make their life easier, to make decisions on a 100% basis. So part of the work that I do is helping people make decisions and giving people the information they need to make the best decision. but that's only a part of it. Whereas in coaching, I can use that a lot more. So that's how you kind of want to look at it, both your natural strengths and then the things that you've gotten good at over the years. And just take into consideration that your genius, that zone that feels uniquely you, it should feel pretty effortless. It should feel like a creative outlet. And when you're done with it, you should just feel like you did good in the world. As corny as that may sound, when I meet with clients one-on-one in my law practice, and it could be just a 15-minute meeting where they're never going to see me again, but I've been able to not only ease their anxiety, but help them create a step-by-step plan to tackle whether their goals or their problems. I feel like I'm on top of the world after those sessions, which is different than, for example, litigating a case, which is drudgery. So I knew right away that came easily to me. I'm a big sister. I'm a firstborn, so I've been solving problems for a long time. But it wasn't until very recently, and after reading, a bunch of books that all suggest as we continue working together, that I was like, oh, that's really like my thing. I'm a problem solver. I'm the type of person that can stay calm during a situation and help you create a plan. So that's what you want to sit down and figure out what it is that you're especially suited to do. And sometimes it's so natural that you don't even know when you're doing it. So think of things that people come to you all the time just because it's easier for you to do it than for them. For example, I'm pretty good at booking cheap trips, so I always end up booking random people in my family and my extended family's trips that I'm not going on, but I enjoy doing it because I love the thrill of finding a cheap flight or cheap hotel, and it makes me happy to help people save money. So these are little things or bigger things that you should consider whether you're good at. So what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 lists during this video seminar here, and we're going to explore the things that you're already good at. So the first one is going to be, when are you at your best? And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean what are you best at. It's when do you feel the best? What activity or thing are you doing when you feel the best? And then we're going to talk about, when are you at your happiest? And these questions are going to require some pretty deep thought, so feel free to pause this or just take one question a day at a time and really give yourself time to think about it. And I would suggest getting a journal to start mapping out these things, because I'll tell you, it's been the journey of probably 3 full years of me just keeping journals and jotting down my thoughts and jotting down my frustrations to actually come to a point where I feel fully confident that I'm embarking on a career or a business that I'm will be the best at, and that my gifts will bring people the most value. So give yourself time. Do not feel like this is something that you're going to have to figure out by the end of this video. Give yourself time to think. Set aside 10 or 15 minutes every day to think about these things. A good time to do this is during your drives to and from work, while you're working out, in the shower. Those are usually my quiet times when the best ideas come to me. And this is like a breadcrumb process. So some of you may know exactly what you want to do, in which case this process may not be as helpful, although it could help you narrow it down further. But for those of you that are at a real loss for what you could really be good at and make money at, it's going to be breadcrumbs. So ideas that, come to your mind, jot them down, and then you can go back and follow those until you're feeling confident about what that thing could be. So number 2, when are you at your happiest? Like I said, the things that you do that you can lose yourself doing on a daily basis. For example, I went to the library the other day, and I just get so excited about books, and that's been like an ongoing thing throughout my whole life. So we'll talk about techniques to figure out really when you're at your happiest, and then what could you get compensated to do. And that one might be a little tough for you guys, especially if you've been in your career for a long time, but you'll get there. So when are you at your best? Like we talked about, your unique ability. What are you the go-to person for? So like I mentioned, like people come to me for cheap flights all the time. And people come to me, like my parents, I've been like their personal assistant since I was probably, I don't know, 8 years old. So I'm good at administrative things. I'm good at follow through things. So it doesn't need to be huge things. Like maybe you're a good baker. Maybe you're a great cook. Maybe you have a knack for planning parties. Maybe you're a great listener. One of my sisters is an awesome listener, and as a result, she knows everybody's story and everybody's business because she's just a non-judgmental person who gives great advice. So it could be small or it could be big. So what are you the go-to person for at work? And that might be pretty easy for you to figure out just by tracking what people are coming to you for like a week or so. At home, within your family, what do your siblings come to you for? What do your parents come to you for? And at church, if you go to church, what are folks so excited for you to help them to do or for you to provide? Do you make like the bomb-ass sweet potato souffle, the most amazing mac and cheese? Are you great talking to new people? Are you, great sharing your story, whatever the case may be? Really get into the weeds about these things and what comes naturally to you. And again, it's not necessarily what you're competent at, but what you're best at. So give that some thought and really just set aside some time to think about these things. So this is going to be list 1. And this is just going to be a free flow stream of consciousness list that you come up with, of just throw anything that you're possibly good at on there. Like, are you super athletic? Are you a great runner? Do you lift a crazy amount of weight? Are you strong? These are all the facets of your life. Like, what else am I trying to say here? So yeah, those things that should come naturally to you. I think that's the list 1. So you're going to work on that. Like I said, it could take you 10 minutes. It could take you 15. You could pause me, or you can pause me until tomorrow and come back to it then. So here's another awesome quote from The Big Leap. Fear is excitement without breath. The very same mechanisms that produce excitement also produce fear, and any fear can be transformed into excitement by breathing fully with it. This one spoke to me a lot because I think the best example of this quote is when you have to do public speaking. And as part of my job, I do public speaking pretty often. I do community outreach. I teach homeowners how to defend themselves in foreclosure. I give presentations at big national conferences. I meet with regulators on a regular basis. I meet with legislators in Washington. So there's a lot of public speaking that I do. And that's not even taking into consideration the fact that I do go to court sometimes and have oral arguments of certain types. So I had to get really comfortable with public speaking quickly. And the best thing for me was preparation, and then also taking that anxiety and that fear that you feel right before you have to speak in public, or a job interview or anything like that, and breathe into it to like naturally calm my body and use that fear, that adrenaline that's in your body, because your mind has determined that this is a really important thing for you to do, and turn that into energy that's excitement, and that will help you come off as more passionate about your topic, or about whatever it is that you're speaking about. So if you take this into the context of exploring a new career, instead of feeling like terrified that you're going to make the wrong choice, or that you really aren't good at anything else other than what you're doing, or whether you're going to risk, your comfy financial circumstances to go out there on a limb for something that may never work out, instead of like snowballing that into more anxiety, think about the fact that you really have nothing to lose. You are where you are right now. If you're in a similar situation as I am, If you're around my age or in your 20s and 30s, you probably already have some sort of established career that's creating, financial stability for you and your family. You can keep that. And then you can keep working towards finding what it is that you really would, light your soul up and would allow you to be of most value to the society, and do it on a part-time 10% basis. Set aside a couple hours every week to do this exploring. And that way you're taking that fear and that frustration and that feeling of impotence and transforming it into an exciting project where you're going to start delving deep into the things that excited you from the very beginning of your consciousness, and start working towards that. So when are you at your happiest? What brings you joy? So this could be something as simple as how I was telling you that I love libraries and bookstores, and libraries even more because the books are free. Think about those things that really, really you enjoy them so much. Is it spending time with your kids, spending time with your family, going to church, going to wineries, going to different countries, exploring new states, reading, having an amazing cup of coffee, having a spectacular glass of wine, anything that really just is your essence. So if I had to describe these things for you, I love Perrier and seltzer water. I love wine. I love coffee. Those three things just make me so happy. And those are really small joys that you can incorporate into your life and that I have. But things as small as that, just so you can start really exercising that joy muscle and getting to know the things that are non-negotiables for you in order for you to be a optimally functioning person. What could you lose your time doing for long stretches of time? Like I said, I love reading, I love traveling, I love adventures, I love all of that exploring. So think about those things. What is the perfect day for you? So many times in these exploration webinars and seminars and things, you sit down and you write down your perfect day. That might be useful for you. I had a really hard time when I had to do it, just because I'm I have no idea. I really have no clue. I know I would want to work out. I would want to have some awesome girl time with my girlfriends. I would want to have some, specific time with Chris, but it was just difficult to really sit down if you had free days. But this is how you can map out your life. And if you think about it, it's so incredible the privilege that we've been given, a lot of us that are my peers, to have the opportunity to do whatever we want in life, and really have that be at the tip of our fingertips and for free by just searching the internet how to start to do these things. And it's just a matter of making sure you continue to be open to these opportunities in your life and not pigeonhole yourself into a career or to a specific thing because that's what you chose to do. And that's what I did a lot in the beginning, especially when I decided to go to law school. I put away a lot of my creative interests and plans because I was no, I need to be a good lawyer. I need to get the best grades. I need to get the best internships so that I can be a good lawyer. And then I was you can mix it up. Then I realized you can combine things. Your career doesn't have to be just one specific thing. You could have 3 different things that you're combining that fulfills you intellectually, that then fulfills you creatively. And there's a really good quote that I posted recently that said, you don't have a career, you have a life. And all you need to do is keep the faith and be true to yourself, paraphrasing. But those are the things that you need to focus on. So what did you love to do as a kid? That's a great place to start. Did you love to dance and play sports and you haven't made time for that anymore? And not to say that you're going to make a side career out of doing that, although many of you could. I have several friends and cousins who are amazing dancers and could absolutely have a side hustle off of giving dance classes or teaching dance fitness, Zumba classes. So, you could leverage that into a side business, but also maybe you could just factor that into your schedule so that you're a happier, more fulfilled, more creative, more open person by just doing that thing. So what is it that you used to love as a kid that you've now stopped doing? And let's schedule that back in during this exploration process. And like I said, this is not going to be an overnight thing for most of you guys. This is going to take some time. What type of books do you enjoy reading? What types of blogs do you read, like while you're eating lunch or breakfast or whatever? Or if you're like a better person than me, are you going for a walk and listening to podcasts of certain types? What TV shows do you gravitate to? Which ones do you enjoy the most? In terms of books, my stuff is like fiction and self-development, personal growth, spirituality stuff. So I try to like bob and weave between those two, because sometimes you get really bogged down. I don't know if any of you guys are into personal growth and spirituality, but you can get really bogged down on feeling like you constantly have to be working on yourself when you're probably fine as you are. We can all always use improvement, but sometimes you get stuck in that book section and you're constantly feeling like you're not enough. So that's something to keep in mind if you're like me. So I try to read like really juicy fiction, alternating with self-help and personal development books, because I just love those just because they exist, not because they're going to make me a better person. Although I've always said that the more you read, the better speaker, writer, and speller you are. So that, I guess you could get something out of it, even if it is a juicy romance novel of the sort. And I'm a big blog reader still. I know mostly everyone is into video now, but I still love blogs. And podcasts, total podcast fiend, because that's what I listen to in the car. It just calms me. It gives me new ideas. And if you need podcast suggestions, like DM me on Facebook or on Instagram, and I can give you a list divided into categories, comedy, self-help, business, blah, blah, blah. I listen to a ton. So those are the things that you want to really dive deep on to figure out what makes you the happiest, or when you are at your happiest. So another quote for you from The Big Leap, and this one says, "A successful life is an authentic life. Happiness and creativity rests on a foundation of transparency to yourself and others. Knowing your own heart and speaking clearly to others keeps you on the path." Keep you on the path. So I could not agree more with this. A few years ago, when I was going through my whole midlife crisis, or third life crisis, I don't know how you call it, I just did not feel like myself. I moved back to Connecticut from DC, and the first year and a half of that move was consumed by house hunting, and then buying a house, and then renovating a house, and then moving in with my boyfriend and having to adjust to that for the first time ever. And I was distracted. So once all of that settled and we were settled into the house, we had worked out the kinks both in the house and between us, I just felt like a fish out of water. And I grew up in Connecticut, but I had been away for 5 years. And before that, I had studied abroad twice for a while. So, and then I had lived at UConn. So I hadn't been like home in like a normal suburb for a long time. And my energy was kind of depleted. And I felt like disconnected from my own like dreams and thoughts, but also felt like I didn't have like that massive support that I had when I lived in the cities, of people just buzzing, you know, just like the city life of constant like birth of new ideas and new restaurants and new things to do. So I felt super stagnant, and I went from like really, really loving my job here in Connecticut, which is the reason I moved here and is like the ideal legal job for me, to feeling like maybe I need to completely switch careers because I'm super bored. But it turned out that it wasn't that. I still love my job, and that's still my preference. If I'm going to practice law, this is what I want to do. But I was able to figure out that I didn't necessarily need to change my career to feel like myself again. I needed to start doing the things that made me happy and being around the people that were vibing at the same level as I am. And that's why here at home, I try to be like a hub for that, for other people. And I try to really get women and people together to just support each other's ideas and each other's dreams in a way that doesn't really seem to come as naturally here as it does in big cities. So your happiness and creativity just rests in you being transparent with yourself about where you are in life and how you're feeling. And I always say that that's really the first step to this whole pivot and this whole transition into something that's going to make you happier as your livelihood, is being honest with yourself about what you want and about where things are, and starting from there, starting from zero or point A, and taking small consistent steps towards point B. And also, of course, being honest with other people about where you are also is incredibly, I find it to be really inspiring. My favorite coaches or like Instagram and Facebook people that I really look to for inspiration on a daily basis are the people that are not afraid to say, hey, like, I started this shit and it was all over the place and I made a million mistakes and it wasn't pretty. And as a result, I know that you can start there too and eventually start making a consistent living from it. And everything hasn't always been rosy for me. So those are the people that I really find myself attracted to, are just people that are both inspiring but transparent about their own errors and their own shortcomings. So I hope to be that same way and to continue to be transparent with you guys about, where this path is. And the fact of the matter is that I'm only a few steps ahead of you. And I will use that little, head start that I have on you to help you as much as I can through the process so that it doesn't have to be as windy and frustrating and just crazy as mine was. But keep in mind that you don't need to be light years ahead of the people that you want to help. You just need to be a few steps. So what could you get paid to do? So we finished list 2, which is what are you happiest at? And list 3 is what could you get paid or compensated to do? So in this list, I want you to write a list of 20 problems that you could solve for others. What could you teach someone else how to do? So examples, like we were talking about, really simple things. Can you teach someone how to cook? Can you cook for someone that needs a specific meal prep for whatever reason? Can you bake really well? Can you bake for others? Can you bake for parties? Can you make cakes for kids' birthday parties? Are you a really good party planner? Are you a really good organizer? Could you organize someone's closet for them? Could you teach someone how to squat properly? Could you write a workout program for someone? Could you write a nutrition program for someone? What can you teach someone else how to do? What could you do for someone? And I mentioned some of those already. Could you cook for them? Could you bake for them? Could you do their makeup? Could you do their hair? Could you run a book club? Could you give relationship advice? Could you help someone strengthen their faith? Could you help someone choose a new career? Could you help someone find their passion and their zone of genius? Can you help someone get healthier? Can you help someone get fitter? So those are services. Simple things, and think about it for a while. After five or six things, you're going to be like, I don't know how to do anything else. Trust me, you do. Get down to the nitty gritty of the things that you do on a regular basis for people for free. And then brainstorm that list. And then when you're done with that, circle your favorite ones. So the ones that not only are you good at doing, but you love to do. So the last part of this, or I think it's the last part, we're going to review the 3 lists. So when are you at your best? When are you at your happiest? What could you get paid to do? And we're going to try to figure out if there's any overlap between the 3 lists. And for those lists that did have an overlap, the skills or the activities that appeared in 2 or 3 of your lists, you're going to set those aside, and those are going to be the lists. That's going to be the list that you go off of when we start really digging deep and exploring these different careers or these different potential business ventures that you could start very small on and then go from there. So I want you guys to prepare that short list and to take as much time as you need to come up with that short list of things that you're good at, that make you happy, and that could make you money. And then in part 2, we're going to be exploring those zones of genius and your interests in more depth. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to link you up with either people that do the work or podcasts that talk about it nonstop or books that really give you the nitty gritty of what the career looks like. Because the last thing you want to do is think that you want to be a nurse, a dental hygienist, a blah, 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 a lawyer. And then once you're thousands of dollars in debt, realize that you hate it. So that's not what I want you guys to do. We're going to figure out inexpensive ways, whether it be like online courses, local courses at a community college, different ways that you could figure out whether it really is what you are looking to do. And we're going to do that. We're going to continue this process as part of my beta test group for my first program. So a beta test is a practice run. And the reason I want to do this is so that you guys can learn to trust me and I can create a program based on your specific needs. So if you're interested in continuing this process and continuing to explore what you could be good at, and you found this video presentation to be really helpful, please send me a direct message on Instagram. I've included my handle at Lowly Love. And you can follow me at my Facebook page, like the page so you'll get notifications of when I launch. And you can also go to my Facebook page and hit sign up in order to get on the newsletter. I know some of you or most of you are already on my email list, but that is how I'm going to go about announcing when the beta one-on-one coaching program is going to start. So the program is going to consist of 6 weeks of working one-on-one with me on what you're finding your zone of genius specifically, and then taking like really action-oriented steps towards exploring this new career, this new side hustle, this new gig that you're into, and creating a long-term 6 month to a year long plan to how you could really add this to your current career or your current job, or start pivoting towards it slowly in a way that's sustainable and that's motivating and energizing to you and not overwhelming. So for 6 weeks, you and I will work together one-on-one. We're going to meet or Skype if you're long distance, and then we'll work on it. I'll give you homework. We'll give you feedback. And this launch of the beta program will be free of charge because it is my first time launching it. And we're going to help each other. So I'm going to help coach you into finding that zone of genius, and you're going to help me by providing me feedback and really good information as to what people are looking for in this type of program. And I will also get the opportunity to work out some of the kinks and learn more about coaching in general. So again, if you're interested in participating in that, it will be free of charge, and it will start probably on September 1st. Although I will let you know. So join me on Instagram at lowly_love or on Facebook at my Facebook page, Life Coach Low. And I hope to see you there. Please give me some feedback on this. Let me know if it was helpful. And let me know if you're excited to move forward. Thank you so much, guys.